It is the late summer of 480 BC, and the city of Athens is currently burning to the ground. The Spartan rearguard has just been wiped out at the pass of Thermopylae, and the Persian army has marched virtually unchecked into Attica. With the city reduced to ash, the early democratic experiments, proto-scientific thought, and civic philosophy we associate with the origins of Western civilization are on the verge of being completely extinguished. The surviving Greek alliance has pulled their remaining naval forces back, but they are a logistical mess. The fleet is composed of fiercely independent city-states who are actively fighting with one another over who is in charge, and they have no unified strategy for stopping the Persian advance. If this fractured coalition tries to meet the Persian navy in a conventional battle on the open ocean, they will be surrounded and destroyed. To survive, they have to find a way to alter the physical rules of the battlefield itself. This diagram shows the brutal mathematical reality the Greeks face. You have a cluster of roughly 370 Greek ships, matched against a massive, screen-filling Persian armada estimated at 600 to 1,200 vessels, a baseline disadvantage of at least 3-1. Looking at those numbers, the Peloponnesian factions want to cut their losses and evacuate. But an Athenian general named Themistocles argues that trying to run will simply allow the faster Persian fleet to pick them off one by one. Themistocles knows he cannot conjure more men or ships out of thin air to fix that numerical deficit. His only option is to weaponize the local geography so the Persian numbers cease to matter. Fast forward to 2017, when maritime archaeologists surveying the coast of Salamis uncovered the submerged remains of the actual Greek staging ground at Amphilakya Bay. The physical layout of this newly discovered harbor is crucial. It featured fortified walls and large stone breakwaters that allowed the allied Greek forces to dock, refit, and organize their fleet completely out of sight from the Persian scouts. The secluded location gave them the time they needed to prepare their primary weapon, the Greek trireme. Unlike ships built for long-distance cruising, these vessels were heavy and bulky, specifically constructed with a reinforced bronze beak at the prow designed for close-quarters ramming. Amphilakya Bay functioned as a tightly coiled spring, a geographical trap waiting for a target to row into the kill zone. To get that target, Themistocles launches a calculated disinformation campaign. He sends a trusted servant across the water to the Persian camp with a fake, highly secretive message. The Greek alliance is terrified, and they are planning to flee under the cover of darkness. King Xerxes hears exactly what he wants to hear. Desperate to crush the resistance and wrap up his campaign, he ignores the explicit warnings of his seasoned naval commanders and immediately orders a nighttime offensive. The entire Persian armada rows out into the pitch black, spending hours exhausting their crews as they blindly maneuver to block the straits, fully expecting to catch the Greeks trying to slip away. As the ancient historian Thucydides would later point out in his strategic critiques of the era, the Greeks weren't actually destroying the Persian navy at this point. The Persians were systematically defeating themselves. By reacting to a perfectly crafted lie, the most powerful military force on Earth voluntarily rowed away from the open sea, surrendering the one distinct tactical advantage they held. When the sun finally rises, the exhausted Persian crews realize there is no retreating enemy. Instead, the heavy Greek fleet is lined up in pristine battle formation, waiting for them. This tactical map of Salamis shows the physical geography forcing the massive Persian fleet into a narrow, constrained channel. The ships fouled each other's oars, collapsing into a chaotic traffic jam. The smaller Greek fleet drives forward in a coordinated wedge, smashing the paralyzed flanks. At the exact moment of impact within these cramped straits, the Persians' overwhelming numerical superiority transformed into a fatal liability. The fallout is immediate and total. Hundreds of Persian ships are sunk or captured. A terrified Xerxes abandons the campaign and flees back to Asia, leaving behind a completely exposed, undersupplied ground force. In the decades that followed, victorious Greek historians like Herodotus would write extensively about Salamis, heavily framing the battle as a legendary moral triumph of democratic freedom over Eastern despotism. But the physical evidence left behind, like this serpent column erected after the final Allied victory at Plataea the following year, points to a much more grounded reality. The Greek victory was the result of a brutal application of asymmetrical warfare. By finding a geographical bottleneck and exploiting a tyrant's hubris, the Greek alliance managed to destroy a superior invasion force. In doing so, they secured the survival of a culture that would dictate the trajectory of the modern world.